The Chinese are the biggest investors in Africa, besides the African diaspora, but they also wield a lot of political power. And wherever they go, they get deals done and they get it done fast. There's not a lot of bureaucracy, and when they move, like I said, it's very quickly, and they pretty much know how to get their way, no matter how stupid and silly it sounds. By the way, in one of the places that Chinese are doing very well is Nigeria. Even on YouTube, you always find videos about China and Nigeria, or even people who want to buy from China and sell in Nigeria. There are plenty of videos on how you can make money. Like, yo, go to China and buy these things and start this business in Nigeria, which is what a lot of people do. People go to China all the time and they get their money and come back and sell in Nigeria. So we can see that there's a relationship going on here. But there are even other relationships. Like, remember there was a story that hit? You had this Chinese man marrying this Nigerian woman. And yeah, it pissed off a lot of people. Even Dr. Umar Johnson had this to say.
Request for my African queens on the continent. I need my African queens, my South African queens, my Nigerian queen, my Ghanaian queens, my Eritrean queens, my Somali queens, my Ethiopian queens. I need y'all to listen to me. My Chad queens, my queens over in Chad. I can't wait to visit Chad. Stop letting the Chinese plant his seeds in your African womb. Black women, I'm a little upset with my queens in Africa and my queens in the Caribbean. I'm a little upset with my queens in Africa and my queens in Caribbean. Stop offering up your sacred wound to these Chinese imperialists. Stop offering up your sacred wound to these Chinese imperialists. Don't you do that. You don't let no China man come to your country and put his sperm in you so he can use your mixed race Afro-Chinese baby to take over African resources. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. He does not love you. He does not care about you. He's impregnating you for African conquest. Now, to my mixed race Chinese Africans, I have nothing against you. If you identify as African, I accept you. If you identify as African, I accept you. You do not have to deny your Chinese father. You do not have to deny your Chinese mother. But you must be unapologetically Pan-Africanist. You must identify wholeheartedly with the African race. If you want me to see you as a Chinese African, I will not do that.
Now, when I saw a lot of the commentary behind Dr. Umar Johnson's harsh remarks, people were saying things like, well, maybe he's a cool Chinese guy. You know, love is love. Stop hating. You know, the world isn't racist like you, Dr. Umar. Okay, that's fair enough. It could be that he is a great guy. And we've seen some people, like Chinese people, Chinese men, be elevated to levels of chiefs in Ghana and in Nigeria. So maybe Dr. Umar Johnson is wrong, right? I got interested in the relationship between Chinese and Nigerians, so I started to look for some videos. I came across this beautiful Nigerian vlogger by the name of Dara Giselle. She spent a whole day going into Chinatown in Lagos, Nigeria. And this is how it started.
Located beneath the hills of Ojota, Lagos, is a place called Chinatown, a place where the Chinese live, eat, buy, sell, and have hospitals. Passing the front of Chinatown on a good day, I wondered what it was, as the entrance looked different from the regular Nigerian buildings. So I asked and was told that it was a place for the Chinese, and so I decided to go on an adventure to Chinatown on another good day.
So first off, what she noticed was that the Chinatown was almost in a fortress, located and built differently than the rest of the things he saw in Nigeria. It was closed off, which meant that it wasn't so open to the public, and it was in Chinese writing, which typically indicates to me that they're only looking for the people that can read it. Hint, hint, other Chinese themselves. But she talked about her experience at the hospital inside of Chinatown. and she found out this.
This is a hospital.
Chinese hospital.
Is the hospital for only China people? Okay, like we now, we cannot use this hospital. Wow, one thing I didn't expect to see here was a hospital. Yeah, and in the hospital, according to the worker here, they treat only Chinese and most of the doctors are Chinese. Yeah, so I went into the hospital and I didn't take a video. I went in through the back door because I wanted to use the loo, and I noticed that most of in fact, all the patients there were actually Chinese, and it's a hospital specially built for them in Chinatown.
Yeah, you guys heard that. A Nigerian cannot go to that Chinese hospital. That Chinese hospital is for Chinese people only. Now, I know what you're probably going to say. Well, the Chinese have done a lot for hospitals in Africa that everybody can use. I don't see what the problem is for them being in Nigeria and only wanting to serve Chinese citizens. Okay, if you want to use that argument, right? But this one will shock you. There's a brother on Instagram. He's going viral right now. And he came out and he had this to say.
Chinese are not building their police station here, even in Asaba. And they don't want you, they don't want their citizens to stay in the same cell with you. They are building, Chinese has police station here in Nigeria. Building their own Chinese police station. Look at how Africans have sold their soul to Jesus. You sold your energy to Jesus. You sold your common sense to Jesus. You sold your land to Jesus. That is why when you sell your land, a land here that was provided to you by your ancestor, in order to get a visa to travel to America, you still thank Jesus.
At first, it might be hard to believe this guy. He's very passionate, he's very animated. But if we go back to the initial point, what do we hear? Chinese have Chinese-only hospitals. But now, for Chinese who commit crimes in Nigeria, you don't send them to Nigerian prisons. You send them to Chinese prisons inside of Nigeria. So what does that mean? Well, I could understand if you were in Chinatown, in the Chinese fortress, and you commit a crime against another Chinese person. Well, then it would make sense that you would go to that jail. I guess if you want to say it that's probably still too crazy. What if a Chinese beats a Nigerian? Like, there is a story of a Chinese man who deleted a Nigerian woman because she refused his hand in marriage.
Chinese man kills Nigerian girlfriend for refusing to marry him. A Chinese national, identified as Gen Kwaron, has been arrested in Kano for allegedly stabbing a 22-year-old woman, Umulukusum Buhari, to death. Abdullahi Kiyawa, police spokesman in the state, confirmed the development on September 17th. According to him, Kwaron, who resides in Nasarawa Jere in Kano, went to the victim's home at Jumbulo quarters in the state, where he was said to have stabbed his girlfriend due to a misunderstanding. The suspect was immediately arrested, and the case has been transferred to the Homicide Section Criminal Investigation Department of the Kano State. The deceased was buried on September 17th as per Muslim tradition in Kano City, as news of her murder continued to provoke outrage across the state capital.
So you see that clip? What if a Chinese kills a Nigerian person in certain parts of Nigeria? Do they go to Nigerian jail, or do they go to a Chinese jail where they are served delicacies, they are served greater food and better food? Let's talk about the other way around. If you go to China and, you're a Nigerian, will they allow Nigerians to build a jail for them? And no, you're going to suffer in a Chinese jail, probably lower than that of anybody else in the country. You're going to regret every day that you're there. And the guy is right. He's saying certain things like, we are selling off our land. We are selling off our people. We are letting these people do this to us based off of corruption. And that's why I always tell you, on my statuses or even here, people who are loyal to money are loyal to nothing. The man's pleas from his voice are crying out to Africa and African politicians to stop selling yourself short to a group of people who don't sell themselves short. The Chinese love themselves so much that even their criminals, they want to have a better experience in a foreign land than you. Think about us as blacks. When we commit crime somewhere else, what do we say? That's what he get. He deserves it. Let him kill him over there. He should have been doing that all along. That's our attitude, right? The Chinese like, no, we will take care of our people. If he's wrong, we will deal with him, but he will not be in there next to a Nigerian because we love our group. We love our people, and we're going to make sure that that never happens. It's powerful, but it shows you where we need to be as a group of people to achieve what the Chinese are doing collectively as a unit. We have to have this pride, this sort of collaboration, this sort of thinking, this us versus them mentality. It doesn't mean that we hate anybody else or we dislike anybody else, but we should prefer ourselves over others because it's clear that they prefer themselves over you. So then now we're getting upset that other people prefer themselves over somebody else are doing good. That's the story all over Africa. Indians are doing well, Lebanese are doing well, Chinese are doing well. Because why? They work with their people to prefer them. And until we get there, we're going to be at the bottom. Well, guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Chidi Jackson, back at it again. It's another episode here on Kangana. I'm out.